first question that I ask my clients is, what problem have your customers got? Now, one of the big characteristics of many entrepreneurs is that they jump straight into the solution. They say, I want to build this, or I'm going to code this, or I'm going to make this. And that is often entirely the wrong thing to do. I worked with a couple of IT companies recently. The one has built a software platform, and after a year, I think 20 something months of development, he's not sure exactly who he's going to sell it to and what problem he's going to solve. He knows the general class of problem, he knows the general type of customer, but he cannot say, this is going to deliver this value to this customer in very precise terms, and it is going to solve their problem. The other one is doing something very similar. He's been working for 12 or 14 months and has built a very nice web platform. Again, it's not clear that he's built something that is going to work for all the hundreds or the millions of customers that he wants to solve it for, because he has extrapolated from his own experience and not got the data from these millions of customers. So the first question that you need to ask is, am I solving a real problem? Who has got this problem? And if we go back a little bit into history, when Google came along, the problem that people were struggling with was, how do I find interesting stuff on the internet? Other contenders at the time, I think it was AOL and Ask Jeeves and AltaVista, were creating directories, indices of interesting websites, and if you look for something in search, you didn't get great results. What Google saw was the problem is people need to find stuff. They have questions and they need to find relevant answers. And for the next, I think 20 years, 15 years, I can't remember how long it is now, Google has been focusing on answering that question. How can I get relevant answers to my questions? That is the problem that Google solves. Microsoft, going for a different way, is how can I get things done simply and quickly using my desktop computer? Before Microsoft, you had MS-DOS. You had a big black and white screen with text in it. Now, for all that we love to hate Microsoft, you've got a very simple, clear interface that clearly, quickly and easily allows you to find the software that you need to use and to use it clearly, quickly and efficiently, so much so that you barely think about it. Uber has another problem. How can I get a taxi? How can I get to where I want to be without getting stuck in a jam? Yeah, click the button, a taxi, transport appears. The more interesting the problem, the more painful a problem, the more difficult a problem, the better it is to solve. There are lots of problems out there that are totally trivial. I'm now trying to think of one. What clothes shall I wear today? For a lot of people is a trivial. It's not worth creating an app to solve that problem for people, because people have got their own very good solutions already in place that work, that are effective. Another one is, how do I tie or people can't tie bow ties? Yes, you can make an app, you can make a business around it, but the number of people with that problem, the number who are really hurt by that pain, it's a very small number of people just before a very important date who need to know how to tie a tie nicely. So focusing on that problem. And what the advice usually is, and I think this is absolutely brilliant, is go out and ask people. Yeah, this is what we do when I'm coaching a lean startup machine. It's exactly the same advice that Steve Blank gives on all of his courses. Eric Ries and Ash Maurya all say the same thing. Get out of the building and talk to people. Yeah, one of my early startups was a startup where I was working on a triathlon website. I thought, this is great. I'm going to do this, and this, and this is going to make me lots of money because loads of people are going to come to the site. Did I go out and talk to real triathletes and ask them what the problem was? No, I didn't. And so 18 months later, after multiple pivots, we just said, okay, that didn't work. Another business that I started up, which was a steel business. The first thing that we did, we flew out to Southeast Asia to a large exhibition, and I went round and I spoke to 300 people, 300 plus people in the exhibition, and I said, this is what I'm going to do. Do you think it's a good idea? Now, I was a little bit inexperienced at the time, so I was focused on selling my solution and seeing that if there was any traction rather than establishing if there was a problem. Now I go around and I say, do you have problems? What's it like getting steel? Where do you get your steel from? What are the problems that you face in getting your steel? And that would give me very, very good data to then design the rest of the business around that. Because if you don't have that real data, everything is in your mind. If everything is in your head, it has no relationship to reality. You may be right, but 90% of entrepreneurs fail. So there's a really, really good chance that you're wrong. So the first step is just get out of the building, go out and talk to people. What is your problem in a particular category? Actually, don't say, hey dude, what's your problem? Otherwise it may end up badly for you. But think about the category of problems, solutions that you're looking at, and then narrow in. Talk to them. And I saw one really interesting fact the other day that from one incubator, every single super successful startup who'd gone through it had pivoted multiple times. None of them were doing the same idea that they started out with. And that is partly because that they were looking for sort of problem product fit. Yeah. And the original problem was not serious enough. But in the process of investigating the problem that they were going to solve, they then found better, more interesting problems that was then able to build a very strong business on, raise money, and then get into a massive amount of growth and eventually looking at exits. And that is what we really want to do. We want to make a difference. If your problem is trivial, you can't make a difference. However good your marketing is, however good your product is, if you want to make a difference, find a hard problem to solve. Find a hard problem to solve, get out and talk to people. Thanks for listening. I'm Dennis Oakley. I'm the Startup Strategist.